Be strong.
Yu glares at Kim. Kim wonders what he is looking at, and a screen appears. It says that dokkaebi Dokgak has invited him to his channel. Kim looks up and sees some dokkaebi in the sky. He asks what is going on and where his reward is. Kim thinks that Dokgak is a storyteller who owns multiple major channels, including the Tokyo Dome, Bihyung, and many other mid-level dokkaebi are all talk. But Dokgak is different. He shouldn't be taken lightly. Dokgak says yes to the reward. He apologizes and snaps his fingers, and the system notifies Kim that he has received 50,000 coins as a reward. Kim thinks that it was Dokgak who started this scenario, so most of this reward must have come out of his pocket. He asks Dokgak about the additional reward and says there was more if he remembers correctly. Dokgak says of course he will give it to him now. After all, he is the one who made this scenario entertaining, so he orders Bihyung to prepare his reward. Bihyung is surprised to hear that and asks what. Dokgak snaps at him and tells him to prepare Kim's reward. Bihyung replies that Dokgak is in charge of the current scenario. Dokgak says that he has heard that the Bihyung channel has grown considerably as of late, and he replies no sir, it hasn't. Dokgak says both Japan and Korea will be competing in the 6th scenario together. He asks if Bihyung forgot, and Bihyung apologizes and says that he will get it ready right away. Kim thinks that power dynamics exist even between dokkaebi. They have had their ups and downs, but seeing Bihyung treated like that is a little infuriating. The system notifies Kim that he has received the protection symbol of a parasite as a reward, and additional rewards of his choosing are available. He was the biggest contributor in completing the scenario, so he is given the first chance to select the additional item of his choice. The choices are Infinite Dimension Space Coat, Black Flame Finger Gloves, and Sylphide's Jump Boots. Kim thinks that they are going to give him something useful for defeating the catastrophe, and they are all SSS grade items. Bihyung tells Kim to choose his reward, but Kim thinks that he looks down after hearing an earful from Dokgak. Bihyung tells Kim that he personally recommends the Infinite Dimension Space Coat. It has a hidden skill, and he can upgrade it easily. Dokgak asks Bihyung if he forgot that he has to explain to the constellation what each item does. He replies yes sir. Kim asks Yu what he is going to pick, but he sees that Yu is using Recovery Hibernation Level 3. Kim goes near him and wonders if Yu passed out again while standing still because he did push himself a little too much.
Thyong asks Kim if she can pick the item instead of him. Kim tells her to go ahead if she wants to get beaten up by Yu later, and tells dokkaebi that he will choose the Infinite Dimension Space Coat. Dokgak says that is a great choice. They will move to the reward area then, as the additional rewards can't be issued here. Kim asks where he is going to take him, and Dokgak says that he will escort him to his dokkaebi Gamtu.
Kim remembers that in traditional fairy tales, Gamtu is a hat worn by government officials, but in TWSA, Gamtu is a room where the dokkaebi hide their true selves. Kim tells the dokkaebi that he doesn't want to go, just give it to him here. Kim thinks that there's no telling what might happen if he goes to his personal space, and there are no rules that say he has to go to a dokkaebi Gamtu to receive scenario rewards. Dokgak starts smiling and says if he keeps making a fuss, then he can choose to cancel his reward. Kim says fine, he will go. Dokgak says that is interesting. Kim thinks that the start stream is particularly thorough when it comes to rewards. There's no way he could take back a reward, even if it is for a sub-scenario. Dokgak says that he has heard stories about him. He tells Kim that he is so famous that even the constellations abroad know about him. He tells Kim that he will get straight to the point and tells Kim join his channel through dokkaebi communication. He is planning to expand his channel in Korea, and he is willing to meet any terms he wants. Kim is shocked to hear that and thinks that it is interesting that he didn't expect him to make such an offer. This is like a player in the Asian Soccer League receiving an offer to play for the top team in La Liga. Kim says whatever. He just wants Dokgak to give him his reward and get out of his face. Dokgak says that he guesses the rumors are true. He isn't afraid of the dokkaebi at all. Dokgak says that it can't be helped then. He was waiting to announce this after giving out the rewards, but he has left him no choice. He tells Kim that he is arrogant, but he will be humbled soon. Dokgak says that this goes out to all the constellations who have been eagerly watching the scenario. He's afraid that he has some bad news. One of the channels operating in the Seoul Dome has been illegally manipulating the scenarios. The system notifies that many constellations are paying attention to Dokjak's announcement. Dokjak says that the channel is run by dokkaebi Bihyong, and Bihyong is shocked to hear that. Dokjak says that investigations have found that the plausibility of the scenario was violated by Bihyong's excessive manipulations. Therefore, on behalf of the other low-level dokkaebi of the Soul Dome, he requests that the Star Stream Management conduct a review of plausibility against Bihyong's channel as Dokjak starts smirking. Fyong asks why he is bringing up plausibility all of a sudden. Kim replies that he is just nitpicking and thinks that he is just restoring to this because he refused the offer. Bihyong glances at Kim because he is freaking out. He asks Kim on the chat what he is supposed to do now. Kim asks did they found out about the contract they had, and Bihyong replies no way. Kim asks if he could have found out that he opened up the dokkaebi shop earlier for him. Bihyong replies that couldn't be it. Kim replies that there's nothing to be scared of, and even if they knew all of that, it has nothing to do with plausibility, so they are not breaking any rules here. Kim thinks that it is just that it hasn't been done before. They haven't violated any rules. The system notifies that the details of channel number by 17623's manipulation have been reported, and the management is currently discussing the matter. Kim thinks that his request for the review will probably be rejected, unless he has solid evidence proving that they have violated the rules of plausibility. Kim shouts at Dokjak and tells him to stop stealing and give him his reward because the constellations are getting bored. Dokjak says that he can't do that. This is much more important than issuing rewards, and he says that this also involves Dokja Kim. Dokjak snaps his fingers and asks if he sees this screen. On the screen, there is footage of Kim fighting with Seolhwa, Antinous, and Myeon. Kim sees it is the footage of his battle against Lycaon, Antinous, and Myeon. Dokjak says that these three battles have one thing in common. Kim could have killed the Poison Beauty and prevented the catastrophe. He also could have prevented the catastrophe by killing Antinous and stopping the catastrophe of questions from hatching. But he didn't do that on purpose. Dokjak says, Dear Constellations, the incarnation Dokja Kim has been colluding with the channel storyteller, Bihyong, and manipulated the scenario by hiding his true powers. Kim thinks that Dokjak wasn't attacking them using the rule of plausibility. Dokjak says that they played them for a fool and made the scenario look harder on purpose to forcefully produce a cathartic ending to the scenario and to cheat them out of their coins. Kim thinks that Dokjak's true goal is to destroy the Bihyong channel. The system notifies Bihyong that some constellations have left the channel out of disappointment, some began to question the authenticity of the channel, and some are demanding a refund. Bihyong tells constellations to wait. He has tears in his eyes, and the system notifies him that the channel has decreased in size. The other dokkaebi starts laughing at Bihyong, and they say that this channel is done for. Kim tells Dokjak that he gets it. Just give him his reward if he is done, and he will accept his offer. Dokjak tells Kim that he hasn't abandoned all of his sensibility after all. Bihyong is angry at Kim, and Kim tells him not to look at him like that. He can't do anything. Kim tells Dokjak to let's go. Dokjak snaps his fingers, and they both disappear. Kim is teleported into a room. He wonders if this is his Gamtu. He turns around and is amazed to see the star stream. Dokjak says he often stares into the star stream too. It is a beautiful sight, and Kim is surprised to see Dokjak. Dokjak tells Kim that he must have startled him and says that it is his real voice. Kim thinks that this is the Dokkaebi's real voice, which he has only heard through broadcasts. Then that means the Dokjak in front of him is his real self. Dokjak asks Kim if he's thinking of doing anything foolish. Kim asks if he is afraid that he might kill him. Dokjak says so he knows that is impossible. Kim says he knows better than to go against a Dokkaebi. Dokjak snaps his fingers and says that he likes it. Let's write up that contract. Then he summons Bihyong there and says that he brought Bihyong as the notary. After all, Kim can't sign their contract until he annuls his contract with Bihyong. He says that Bihyong will compensate him for his breach of contract. Kim thinks that this jerk knew he had a deal with Bihyong all along. Kim tells Dokjak to do as he likes. He doesn't care. Dokjak says that he is glad that he is quick to agree and asks if he would like to have a look at the contract first. Dokjak says that it is his first time signing a contract like this. The contract appears in front of Kim, and he looks annoyed after reading the contract and says that he will take half of all donations received, and there are even clauses that restrict his freedom, and he is the employee and not the employer. Dokjak asks Kim what he thinks about the contract. That's how things are done in this kind of line of work, but he can make some adjustments if he wants. Kim thinks that he is lying. Even though Bi-hyung didn't offer a contract as unfair as this, Kim says that it is not a bad contract, but he would like to make a request before signing the contract. Dokja asks what that request is. Kim tells him that he doesn't want to be the only one moving to a different channel. Bi-hyung's channel has some powerful constellations. Dokja looks at Bi-hyung and asks who. Kim replies, the prisoner of the golden headband, abyssal black flame dragon, demonic judge of fire. Dokja tells Bi-hyung that he's impressed because he didn't know that he had such a powerful constellation. Bi-hyung is angry at Kim and asks how he could do this to him. Kim is smiling, and he replies to Bi-hyung that he should trust him once. Things can't get any worse right now anyway. Kim starts speaking again and says that he was hoping he could help these constellations move channels with him. He tells Dokja to link him up to his channel, and Dokja says that he would be linked to 2 channels simultaneously. Kim says that it doesn't matter. That way, the constellations will be able to move to his channel through him. Dokja says that he is right. Kim tells him that he is a little curious and wants a sneak peek at the constellations in his soon-to-be channel. Kim says that he has only ever been in this small channel, and now he wants to see what it's like in the big leagues. He asks Dokja if he can give him a sneak peek. Dokja tells Bi-hyung that he found himself an amazing incarnation. Too bad he will be with him now. Bi-hyung starts crying. Dokja says fine. He will give Kim a little preview of how the big boys play and snap his fingers. Numerous screens appear around Kim. Kim is surprised to see that he even has constellations from other continents and even other worlds. He wonders about all the coins he could get if he was on a channel as big as this one. Dokja asks what he thinks about his new home. Kim says that he is impressed. It is huge. Dokja says that they should sign the contract now. Kim tells him before doing that, he wants to say hello to everyone, and Dokja allows him to do that. Kim closes his eyes and asks the constellations of Tokyo Dome if they can hear him. The system notifies him that some constellations of Tokyo Dome are looking his way. Kim says that he is sure some of them may have already heard of him. He is Dokja Kim, the one who destroyed the ruler's throne and became the king of the world without a king. He says that he doesn't have a supporting constellation, and that's about it. He looks forward to their time together. Dokja thinks that he is in high maintenance. The system notifies that the constellations of Tokyo's dome are listening to what he has to say. Kim tells everyone that he would like to host an event to commemorate his joining the channel, and let's call it a collaboration between Korea and Japan. If they want to know more, then come to channel number by 76023. There will be a coin draw for those who come early. The connection is lost. Dokja asks Kim what he thinks he is doing. Kim tells him that he is hosting an event. Dokja is furious and asks Kim if he has a death wish, and if he thinks that the constellations in his channel would fall for something like that. A screen appears in front of Dokja. Kim says that he thinks they are interested because he cut him off just when it was getting good, and Dokja starts shouting at the constellations to wait. The system notifies that a considerable number of constellations have joined the Bi-hyung channel, and the channel has leveled up. Kim thanks everyone for coming. The constellation prisoner of the golden headband is annoyed at the sudden influx of constellations. Naval warfare god is wary of the new constellations. A constellation that wields the Muramasa is begging him to announce the winner of the coin draw, and a few constellations are asking when the coin draw will start. Kim tells them to calm down. It is going to be soon, but think about it for a second, if the coins are even important when one doesn't have an incarnation to spend them on. Kim puts his hands in the air and says that some of them may have missed it, so let him tell them again he is Dokja Kim, and he doesn't have a supporting constellation yet. He had won the War of Kings and stopped 2 catastrophes before the scenario even began. They probably won't find any other incarnation like him in the entire world, and definitely not one who doesn't have a supporting constellation yet, but things have been getting a little hard lately, and the 5th scenario is about to start for Seoul Dome. Seeing as how they are all very smart, he trusts that they all know what that means. That is right. The moment they have all been waiting for, the 2nd support selection event will be held soon, and to commemorate the occasion, he wants to hold a special event of his own. Kim tells everyone that if this channel gets more than 10,000 subscribers before the day of the support selection, then he is going to choose one of the constellations for this channel. Dokja is sweating as he yells at Kim to wait. The constellations are watching Kim on the screen. The prisoner of the golden headband gulps loudly, and the secretive plotter is watching him with great interest. Kim tells everyone that he will be waiting for them here, and that they shouldn't forget that there are 10,000 subscribers. Dokja grabs his head and lets out a loud scream. He tells Kim that he is going to have to die now. Kim tells him that so many constellations are watching them right now. He asks if Dokja isn't afraid of what might happen if he does that. Dokja tells Kim that he is the master of the Tokyo Dome. He asks if Kim thinks that he would be afraid of breaking the rule of plausibility to let an insect like him get away. Dokja attacks Kim with lightning, but he is unharmed. Kim thinks that he can take this, and Dokja wonders what is happening right now. A voice calls him from behind and asks if he had fun. Dokja turns around and sees that Bi-hyung is staring at him, and he is quite large in size. Dokja asks how he broke free from the letters of imprisonment. Bi-hyung says that he just broke after some wriggling around. Dokja asks Bi-hyung what he thinks he is doing. He calls him a low-level dokkaebi. Bi-hyung tells Dokja that he may have a lot of subscribers, but he is a low-level dokkaebi too. Dokja says that he chose not to move up the rank and asks if he dares to pick a fight against the master of a major dome. Bi-hyung says that he saw that he had many great constellations, but they are all in his channel now. He tells Dokja that he was running his mouth about him earlier, and that he manipulated some scenarios that are rich coming from an incarnation thief. He asks Dokja didn't anyone teach him any manners. Dokja is scared, and he tells Bi-hyung that he won't get away with it if he attacks him. Bi-hyung furiously punches him in the face and says that he doesn't care. Dokja crashes through the room and disappears into the star stream. Kim is scared to see that. Kim looks at Bi-hyung, who says that he has gotten too worked up and must have punched him all the way to the Andromeda scenario. Bi-hyung looks angry. Kim thinks that he is at the dokkaebi Gamtu, just like Dokja, and this is Bi-hyung's real self. Kim is scared, so he casually asks if there is such a scenario. Kim thinks that he can feel that Bi-hyung has become much stronger with the growth of his channel, and he doesn't have his consent about what he did. Kim is afraid that he might be holding a grudge against him. Bi-hyung replies that it is a scenario that makes one see reason again, but more importantly, he asks Kim if he knows what he is seeing right now. There are multiple screens in front of them. Kim says that he imagines it is not different from what he is seeing right now. Bi-hyung starts smiling, and he has tears in his eyes. After some time, Kim looked at a pile of books. There was one called Singularity. Bi-hyung looks at Kim and asks what he is doing. Kim says that he is not doing anything. Kim looks around the place and thinks that it is not bad what Dokja has done with the place and thinks that he can't let his guard down around Bi-hyung. Kim asks Bi-hyung if he thinks that they will be okay. Bi-hyung asks if he is regretting it. Bi-hyung asks Kim what he was thinking about lying like that, and what if they actually get over 10,000 subscribers. They have already reached 5,000. He tells Kim that one of the conditions of their contract was that he wouldn't choose a supporting constellation. Kim tells him that it will all work out. He has a plan, and more than that, give him his item already. Kim brings his hand forward and asks Bi-hyung if he isn't in charge now that Dokja is gone. Meanwhile, back in the city, Yu and Seong wait for Kim to return, and he suddenly appears out of thin air. Seong asks where he is, and Kim replies that he was just taking care of some things. She says that whatever it was, it looks like it went well, seeing how he has gotten himself a new coat. She asks Kim if he has decided to wear matching outfits while pointing at Yu. Kim says that it is a coincidence. The system notifies that the constellation Demonic Judge of Fire is happy for some reason, and a constellation who likes to change genders is intrigued. Kim thinks that he actually wanted a black one. He looks at Yu and thinks that he is still pissed. Kim remembers that Bi-hyung told him that some other colors are out of stock. Kim asked if there were more than one coat. He thought this was an SSS grade item. Bi-hyung tells him that this is a mass-produced item and it is graded like that because of the item's creator. He is very powerful. Kim thinks that he picked the infinite dimension space coat for its storage capacity, but he doesn't think it is worthy of being SSS grade. The system displays all the information about the infinite dimension space coat, and it is made by a mass producer, a cost tailored for returnees. Despite being a mass-produced item, it was given SSS grade for Dinner Mysteries reasons. It is designed in consideration of the special returnees who can't activate their attribute window. The substage storage feature is in effect in the coat's inner pocket. but of course be mindful in using it as there is limited storage space. Kim remembers that Mass Producer is a constellation that is popular with returnees. If they made it, then it made perfect sense why it is being graded like that. Kim looks at Yu and wonders if he is okay. He seems to be recovering just fine. Kim looks at Seong and tells her that they should get out of there before Yu wakes up. While traveling, Seong asks Kim if these plant monsters are edible and how he can even cook something like that. Kim replies that they don't have any food, so there's no other choice. The system notifies them that the Tier 7 plant monster, Yanispleta, is looking at them. Kim cuts down the plant monster and starts sprinkling some seasoning on it before cooking it on a stove. Seong says that it looks delicious. Kim tells her to wait until it is not done yet and drink this before she eats. He has boiled the sap from the root. He tells her that they have to drink this before eating the stem of the Yanispleta. Seong takes a large bite of the meat and tells Kim that it is amazing. She tells him that he could start his own restaurant, and Kim tells her to slow down. The system notifies that the constellation Lazy Wednesday's eye is curious about how his cooking tastes. A royal nurse who has lost her sense of taste is jotting down his recipe, and a few constellations who love cooking are interested in his cooking. Seong asks Kim if it is okay to leave Yu with that woman. She's the Poison Beauty, and she asks Kim if they can trust her. Kim remembers that he told Poison Beauty to take Yu to Gibong. She would find the military base of the 15,603rd Division there, and there would be a sad-looking soldier waiting for her. Kim remembers that in Yu's other regressions, where she wasn't infected, Seol Hwali was known as the Sage of Medicine instead of the Poison Beauty. Kim tells Seong that Poison Beauty isn't a bad person at heart. It is because of the parasite that she's like that. Songa is lying on the ground near them. Kim thinks that perhaps Seol Hwali will again be known as the Sage of Medicine in this round. Kim looks at Songa and tells her that he knows that she is awake, so come over and have some food, but there is no response from her. He says she must be asleep. He says that there won't be any left for her then, and says that this part tastes like short ribs. Songa quickly sits up and tells him to wait. She is embarrassed that her stomach is growling. Kim looks at Seong and tells her if she's done eating them, she should get up. She gets up and tells him that her sure is annoying. She tells him that she is going for a walk and leaves some of the meats for to eat later. Songa quickly starts eating. Kim is smiling as he tells her to slow down. She says that it is very delicious. Kim thinks that she's definitely the Songa that he used to know. A month has passed since the apocalypse began, and so many things have happened and changed that Songa, who used to hate harming others, is now wielding a pair of daggers. Songa tells Kim that they can't go back to how things used to be back then. She starts crying while eating the food, and Kim tells her that it is not her fault. She stops eating and starts crying a lot. Kim is looking at the sky and thinks that there's a week left until the beginning of the 5th scenario. So far he has managed to defeat both the catastrophe from the foaming depths of hell, the fire dragon, and the catastrophe of questions Myung. Yu will wake up soon and take care of the west with Hyunseong, and the king of wanderers will take care of the north. All that left is the catastrophe at the center, but before that he looks at Sanga, who is passed out while crying, and asks why don't they show themselves now. Kim says they are going to keep feigning ignorance. He says that he doesn't know why they are watching him, but if they have kept a close eye on him so this time, then they should know by now if one consumes the stem of the Yanispleta without drinking the sap first it puts one to sleep. Kim points his sword at Sanga and says that he is willing to do anything to achieve his goal, so they better start taking it soon unless they don't want to see their precious incarnation die.
Suddenly, the wind starts blowing, and Sanga opens her eyes. They are yellow in color, and a yellow flash strikes her body. The system notifies her that the fourth wall has nullified his emotional shock, and blood starts coming out of Kim's mouth. Sanga gets up and speaks in a strange voice. She calls Kim an insignificant human, and Kim says that they have finally shown themselves. The damned constellations of Olympus are controlling Sanga.
Kim thinks that there are two kinds of constellations in the world of TWSA. Free constellations that don't belong to any group and constellations that belong to a specific nebula. Some of the famous nebulas on Earth are based on mythology, such as Asgard from Nordic mythology, Eden of Revelations, and Olympus, to which the Sanga constellation belongs. Sanga's constellation asks Kim how dare an insignificant human such as him mock the great constellations. Kim says that they must be joking and says that they are not even a real god. The plausibility rule for the early scenarios doesn't permit the gods of Olympus to descend upon this world. With the current role of plausibility, it seems the only one allowed through is the lover of the abandoned labyrinth. Sanga is shocked to hear that. Kim says that she is the historical constellation of Olympus Ariadne. He says that the constellations of Olympus must be rather stingy, seeing as how they sent her because of her low plausibility cost. Sanga is furious as she tells Kim to shut up. There's lightning in the sky, and Kim thinks that they won't be able to attack him here and now. Taking over Incarnation's will to descend here must have used up a lot of plausibility already, and they will have a lot to lose if they use their power now. Kim tells her that he knows that she must not have a lot of time, so he will get straight to the point. The gods of the other dimensions seem to have noticed her presence. Ariadne asks how a mere human can know such things. Kim replies that it is not important right now. He tells her that he is not here to banter with her, so he's going to ask her 3 questions. If she answers all 3, then he will also answer her questions. Ariadne says that he is asking for a 3-question exchange. It is a method used by the constellations to trade information with the minimum possible plausibility loss. She is angry that a human is using the method of constellations. Kim asks if she is in or not. She closes her eyes and, after thinking for a while, says that she accepts his request. The system notifies that a constellation that doesn't want the excitement to stop shows interest in his offer. The divine 3-question exchange has begun. Both parties can exchange the questions for 3 answers, and all the questions must be answered truthfully. Both parties can refuse to answer 1 question each. The exchange doesn't end until all the questions have been answered truthfully according to the rules. Kim says that he will go first. There are 3 magic lamps on his head. Kim asks Ariadne why she took over Sanga's body when her home is on the other side of the world, and asks if she doesn't have her hands full of scenarios there. She replies that it is to monitor the singularity of this world. The first question has been answered, so 1 lamp on Kim's head is turned off. Kim asks about singularity. She asks if that is his second question. Kim says no, it is her turn now, and Kim thinks that she is smarter than he thought. Ariadne asks Kim who he is, and Kim replies that he is one of the singularities she is monitoring. 1 lamp on her head is also turned off as the system notifies her that the constellation, lover of the abandoned labyrinth, has received her first answer. Ariadne is surprised to hear that and asks how he knew. Kim starts smiling and says that he guessed he was that singularity. After all, he was just guessing. Ariadne is angry at Kim. He tells her not to get upset now and asks if this is how one usually plays the game. The system notifies that a constellation who doesn't want the excitement to stop is pleased with his witty answer. Kim thinks that this is how one gets the most out of the 3-question exchange. One has to ask the most useful question during his turn and make the opponent answer their questions. Kim asks what this singularity is. She replies that it refers to beings like him. Kim tells her to give him a proper answer, or they can keep beating around the bush. She says that, in principle, they're beings who appear in the oracle at first. They didn't intend to monitor him. It was a coincidence that they crossed paths. They were going to monitor something else. Beings who destroy plausibility carrying the burden of destiny on their backs. That is what they refer to as a singularity. Kim thinks that he gets what a singularity is now. She tells Kim that if he is satisfied, then it is her turn to ask the question. She asks who he would choose in the upcoming support selection. Kim is shocked by her question. The system notifies her that a constellation that doesn't want the excitement to stop is awaiting his answer with great interest. Kim thinks that this is unexpected. The system notifies that the constellation prisoner of the Golden Headband is changing his nickname, and a few constellations who love the Korean peninsula are nervous. Kim says that he is not going to answer that. He says that it will be no fun if he tells her now who he is going to pick. The system notifies Kim that he has used his right to refuse, and he can no longer refuse to answer any more questions. Ariadne says that here is her last question. Then she asks Kim how he knew that they were watching him. Kim is nervous and thinks that this must have been what they were after all along, because he could have just given them an irrelevant answer had they asked about his identity. Kim says that he has read a lot of books. He knows all of this because he likes reading a lot of books. Kim thinks that seeing as there's no announcement that the question has been answered, he guesses his answer wasn't convincing enough, but he can't tell them about TWSA either. Kim tells her that, in general, Koreans know a lot about their mythology. Ariadne asks what he means, and Kim replies that they are so famous here that they publish comics for children based on their mythology. He says that he guessed she didn't know that she's very famous here. Ariadne is surprised to hear that and thinks that can't be possible. Kim tells her that the Cretan labyrinth, the monster who is half human and half beast, her lover who has forgotten about her, is imprisoned on Naxos Island. He asks her if he should go on and tell her more, and she tells him to stop. There's an announcement that the constellation lover of the abandoned labyrinth has received her third answer, and all 3 lamps on her head are turned off. Ariadne wonders how a human from this tiny country knows about her fable. Kim asks the oracle she received what it was about, and she says that she can't tell him that. All 3 lamps on Kim's head are turned off. Kim thinks that he knows this will happen, and he says that the last question is the most important. The system notifies that Ariadne has used her right to refuse, and all answers and questions have been exchanged. The divine 3-question exchange has ended. Ariadne tells Kim that she has entertained his insolence because her husband was curious about him, but this is where it ends. There is only one reason why she descended to this world. She says that this is a stern warning from Olympus. Do not meddle in their affairs. They are working to prevent this world from ending, and this woman will become the wall to stop the oncoming tide of destruction. Kim asks why Senga. She replied that it is pointless to ask why. Even the 3 sisters who spin the thread of fate don't know. Kim clenches his teeth and says that Olympus does blame everything on fate. She tells Kim that he is the incarnation restricted by the scenarios, the direction of fate is being turned, all the flow of stars will gather into one place, and the story that decides the fate of the constellations will begin. Kim asks what she means by that and asks if she's talking about the Gigantomachy. Ariadne says he even knows about that. She tells Kim that he never ceases to surprise her, but he will never fully understand as he is a mere puppet to the moment. Lightning strikes in the sky as she tells Kim to remember if he is standing on the wrong side when the end is near. A lightning blast strikes Sangha and she starts to fall to the ground. Kim rushes to catch her, takes her in his arms and says that he must not look up right now. Kim musters the courage and looks up. The system notifies them that the 4th wall has nullified his emotional shock, and Kim sees a large monster emerging from the sky. Kim sees that they are the monsters he is going to be fighting against. He thinks that the final scenario had many different names: Ragnarok, Gigantomachia, and Armageddon. He doesn't know what Ariadne said when she said the end, but one thing is for sure, something different from what he knows is about to start. All the monsters start roaring while looking at the sky. Kim is sweating as he thinks that it is exactly what he wanted. If things carried on as they did in the novel, he will never be able to get the ending that he wants. Kim says that he is going to create a story that will stand face to face with any mythology. The system notifies that the power of a fable stirs in the depth of his soul, and his first stigma is about to blossom. Strong winds start blowing, Lycaon is severely injured and bleeding a lot, and he is running away. It is Antinous controlling the body of Lycaon. She says that she can't believe that she has ended up taking over the body of the Wolf of Amunter. But she should be thankful that she was lucky enough to survive. She starts coughing blood and says that this body won't last much longer. She needs to find a new host, and she'll drive the Earthlings who have ruined her home to extinction. Antinous looks up in the sky and says that energy is familiar. It is similar to what she felt from the monarch-level insects of Kronos. She thinks if she could take over the beings who emanate such energy, then she would be able to take her revenge. While running, she looks at a boy in the woods. The boy is amazed to see her and says that he has never seen an insect like her. There are dark clouds in the sky. Kim wakes up in a room. Seong looks at him and asks if he had a bad dream. Kim says something like that. Kim tells her that what he saw just now was the vision from the omniscient reader's viewpoint that was activated subconsciously. Kim wonders if Gilliang is okay. Kim gets up and starts wearing his jacket. He asks Seong where Sangha is. Seong tells him that she went out to surveil the area and asks Kim what they should do now. Kim tells her that they will wait until the scenario is over. Seong is annoyed and asks if he thinks that she asked to hear an answer like that. She tells him that he must have a plan. Kim says there are 5 days until the scenario begins, so if Yu takes care of the West and King of the Wanderers takes care of the North, Seong asks what about the center. Kim says that they will deal with it together. Seong says that she is sure there is an easier way. Kim is surprised to hear that. He looks at Seong in anger and asks if she plagiarized that too. She replies that she didn't and says there is an easy way to prevent the catastrophe at the center from what she knows. Seong asks Kim if he is going to do it, and he thinks that she did plagiarize it. At the same time, Songa arrives there and waves at Kim. Seong tells Kim that he seems much happier since that woman came back. Kim starts smiling and waves back. He says it is because he can trust her. He says that they will come up with a plan while they keep moving. There are dark clouds in the sky. Kim, Songa, and Seong are fighting a monster after some time. Kim tells Songa to come to his right and tells Seong to cover the back. He says that they will follow the Han River to the west and head toward the center. They have two goals: to find Pildu, who was missing from the Han River, defeat the monsters in the area, and collect coins. Songa and Seong attack the monster and cut it. The monster starts screaming as a lot of blood starts coming out. Kim delivers the final blow and cuts the monster in half. Kim thinks that he didn't expect the three of them to be able to hunt level 7 and even level 6 monsters so easily. He tells Senga to try not to use all the stigma at once. She says that she is sorry she caused a mess back then. Kim says that it is not because of that. He tells her that using multiple stigmas simultaneously will put a strain on her body. Kim thinks that those idiots at the Olympus probably didn't even tell her this. Senga starts smiling and thanks him for his concern. Kim asks if she already knows about this. She tells Kim that he must still think that she is the same old helpless Senga. She says that she is not like him and can't do anything in this new world. All the certificates and licenses she has earned are useless here. Kim asks if she thought that she could change things by becoming powerful, and she says a little. Kim looks at her hands and says that she didn't have such scars on them before. She tells Kim that she just decided to work on the things that matter in this world. Songa starts smiling and says that is all. Kim receives a message. He looks at the mobile and is shocked to see a message from Donghoon Han. Han asks if he is alright. He tells Kim that he couldn't contact him earlier because it has been difficult to get an internet connection lately. He tells Kim that he is in the Yongsan-gu area and Gilliang is here too. Kim asks if Gilliang is with him. He replies yes. Kim thinks that is a relief because he was worried. Now that he has found out where Hyunseong and Huiwen are through the omniscient reader's viewpoint, he can stop worrying. Kim happily tells Songa that he received a message from Donghoon and he is with Gilliang. The only thing left to do is to get together. Kim says that it is time they cross the river. Seong asks if he means that river. There are plenty of sea beasts in the river. They are looking for a bridge to cross the river, but all the bridges are destroyed. Seong tells Kim that she told him there is no bridge that is intact. Kim thinks that Ichthyosaurus is a level 7 monster. He can hunt it down if he wants, but there are just too many of them, or he could swim. It will be even riskier to encounter them while swimming. He thought there would be at least one bridge that was left untouched. Suddenly, they notice some people approaching them. Kim thinks that they are wanderers. Seong brings out her sword and Songa opens her bag. Seong asks her what she is doing. Songa tells her that they are starving. Seong says don't tell her that she's going to share her food with them. She asks Songa if she's out of her mind and tells her that she should know that people are the most dangerous in the apocalypse. Songa tells Seong that she can kill them all if she wants to, but on the contrary, she could save them all as well. Kim and Seong are shocked to see that Songa is sharing her food with the people. Kim says that they have enough. It doesn't matter. He brings out some of his food from his pocket. Seong is shocked to see that a man is crying as he receives the food and thanks Kim. The system notifies Kim that a few people have become fond of him. Seong tells Kim that he is two-faced, and Kim says that he does good deeds sometimes too. Kim thinks that it is just a calculated move. The system notifies that his understanding of characters Shin and Gangchual Ma has increased and that characters have been added to the bookmarks. Seong says she thought women like her only existed in fiction. Kim thinks that even before the apocalypse, Songa was like a female protagonist of some novel. A girl comes running towards Kim and thanks him while bowing down. Kim thinks that this girl has good manners. He asks her where her parents are, and she says that they are not here anymore. Yu thinks that this little child has survived until the 5th scenario without her guardians, unless she has been dropped off in the middle of nowhere, which is nearly impossible in TWSA. The girl bows down and thanks Kim. He tells her to wait and wonders if she just came here to thank him. Kim looks back and sees that Seong is angry. He tells the girl never mind and says goodbye. Fyong says that they are just wasting their time and food here. After some time, while sitting in a room, Fyong says just wait and see. They will be back for more soon. She asks if they see them looking at their weapons. They will soon end up biting the hand that feeds them. Kim and Sangha are eating meat. Kim says that not everyone is bad just because it's apocalypse, and Fyong says yes, they are, almost all of them. 1 hour later, Fyong is still mad. She is cooking her meat on the stove and says that they will be back soon, drooling for more. 2 hours later, Fyong is still waiting for the people to attack them. Kim and Sangha are busy in their conversation. 3 hours later, Fyong is still mad. She says they should be coming any minute now. Kim tells her that she is going to scare them away. 4 hours later, there's a noise and Fyong excitedly says that they are here. Kim asks why she is so happy. Fyong says that she told them they would come for their food. There is a girl outside holding a blanket. She asks if she may have a moment, and Kim, Fyong, and Sangha are shocked to see her. The system notifies that the constellation Demonic Judge of Fire smiles benevolently, and they have been gifted 2,000 points. Sangha takes the blankets from the girl and thanks her. She asks if she is alone and says that it is dangerous for her to be out so late at night. The girl says it is just as dangerous wherever she goes. Sangha asks her if she wants to stay with them. The girl bows her head and says no thanks. She will only end up being a burden. She turns around and is about to leave when Fyong throws a knife near her feet and tells her that she is not going anywhere. The girl falls on the ground. Sangha is angry at Fyong and asks what she thinks she is doing. Fyong looks at Kim and asks him if he knows what to do.
Fyong asks Kim if he is going to act like a hypocrite again just because she's a little girl. Kim is nervous and thinks that he was hoping that she wouldn't notice. Fyong asks Kim if he is going to be the good guy again, and then she guesses she will have to be the villain again. Sangha puts her hand in front of her and tells her to stop.
Fyong tells Sangha to move and asks if she is going to kill her. Sangha says that she is just a regular child. Fyong is furious and asks Kim to tell her before she blows her lid off and kills them both. Kim says that in 5 days, that girl will end up destroying Seoul. The system notifies that the constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon smiles, and Kim says that she is the final catastrophe of the 5th scenario. The system notifies that many constellations are intrigued by how the scenario is unfolding. Kim thinks that night the girl didn't die because Sangha didn't want them to kill her, and he agreed with her. Fyong is furious at them and leaves the room, telling them to do what they want. Kim tells Sangha that the catastrophe of floods, the final catastrophe of the 5th scenario, is the most dangerous and the most tragic catastrophe. Sangha puts the blanket on the girl and puts her to sleep. She says so. She is a catastrophe like the catastrophe of questions. Kim says that they are similar but different. Sangha says that she doesn't look like a catastrophe no matter how much she looks at her. She asks Kim how she is going to become a catastrophe in just 5 days. Kim is looking at her character profile. Her name is Yuseon Shin, and she is 11 years old. She doesn't have a supporting constellation, but 2 constellations are showing interest. Her personal attributes are Beast Tamer and Introspective Killer. Personal skills include Taming level 5, Interspecies Communication level 7, Agile Feat level 6, and Interspecies Friendship level 4. She doesn't have a stigma. Her stamina and strength are at level 12, dexterity at 16, and mana at 24. She has decent potential as a magic user, but her stats are leaving overall. Despite her great potential and being gifted with a rare attribute, she has not gained the favor of constellations due to her vulnerability and her soft temperament. Sangha tells Kim that she has heard that catastrophes hatch from meteorites, but she hasn't hatched from a meteorite. Kim says that is right. She's just a human who was born on Earth, and she will still be human in 5 days. Sangha asks how, and Kim replies that it is not the girl who becomes the catastrophe, but her future self. Kim thinks that even you can't do anything to stop this catastrophe. Kim remembers that you stared at the emptiness where his chest used to be. It was a wound that could not be healed without using the resuscitation skill. You asked Yuseon Shin why she had changed her mind, and she said that she hadn't changed at all. She was not a regressor in this world. She was the same catastrophe that he met during his past regression. You asked why. She said that it was his 3rd regression, so she must have given him a chance in the 2nd. Shin shouts at you that he failed again. She gave him so much information, but he failed again. She said that this world can't be changed because he will remain the same and nothing will change. That's what made her decide that this world should end here and now. Kim is reading TWSA on his mobile. Seong asks what he is up to. Kim looks back and is startled to see her. Kim says that he is still thinking. Seong asks if he forgot that she almost killed you in his third regression. Kim says that he didn't die. Seong says the important thing is that they don't stand a chance if they face her head. If the delusional demon Namun Kim didn't kill her, then it is all over. Kim thinks that Namun isn't alive in this regression. Seong tells Kim to just remember she warned him. The best they can do is kill her and prevent her future from ever happening, and she's probably not the only one who thinks that. The system notifies that many constellations who want to find out what comes next are frustrated. The constellation prisoner of the golden headband is bracing himself for the frustration that's about to strike him, and the demonic judge of fire is looking forward to his wise decision. Kim thinks that their conversation must not have been filtered this time. Well, it is about time that they learn about the future. Sunga tells Kim that she doesn't think that it is right. It is the future, and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe they can prevent her from becoming a catastrophe if they took care of her better. Kim says that the events that make her a catastrophe happen far in the future, and there's nothing they can do about it right now. Kim thinks that Yu had made several similar attempts. He looked for Yu Seung-shin as soon as he could and tried to talk her out of it, but he failed. Shin is eating a piece of meat when Kim approaches her and asks if it is good. She says yes. Kim thinks that honestly killing her now won't impact their journey in the end. On the contrary, if they don't kill her, then Seoul will be in ruins at the slightest mistake. Shin asks Kim if he can see the future and if she will become a very bad person in the future. Kim says that maybe. Shin asks how bad she will be. Kim says she will probably be the worst person in Seoul, but she says that doesn't surprise her because she is already a bad person. She remembers that she killed someone and stole someone's food. She thinks that she doesn't deserve to go on living. Kim thinks that he knows very well that a lot has happened for young Shin to survive in this world. She has done things that anyone else would have done in a world like this, but no one can rationalize such actions. The system notifies that Kim's understanding of the character Shin has increased. Shin tells Kim that he can kill her already. Kim thinks that if he was the main character in the story, then he would have killed her without a second thought, but he is a reader, and a reader should make choices a reader would make. Sunga puts her hand on her mouth after hearing that. Kim puts his hand on Shin's head and tells her not to worry. Her death isn't a part of the ending that he wants. The system notifies that the character Shin has grown to trust him a little. Kim thinks that if he kills her, Yu's regression will become meaningless. He is fighting to change the past, so wouldn't his fight be meaningless? Shin tells Kim that she has to die. Kim starts smiling and says that there is a way to stop the catastrophe. It is possible only if she helps him. Shin asks what she can do. She's just a kid, and she doesn't even have a supporting constellation. A screen appears in front of Shin, and the system notifies that Kim has gifted a growth package to the incarnation Shin. Numerous screens appear around Shin, and the system notifies that Kim has gifted Growth Package 2 and a new Scenario Anniversary Package to Shin. Shin asks what all this is. Kim smiles and tells her that it is fine because he has a lot of money. Kim thinks that he will prevent this child from dying for Yu's sake. Kim thinks that Beast Lord Shin will grow up to become one of the 100 strongest people in this world. Shin gets up and asks Kim who he is. Kim says that he is Dokja Kim. Kim thinks that this child may become a catastrophe one day, so she will be his first incarnation in this round. Kim tells her that within 5 days, she will become stronger than any of them. In the morning, Kim is sleeping when the system notifies him that the constellation, the demonic judge of fire, urges him to look after his incarnation. Kim stretches and thinks that he must have dozed off. The system notifies that the constellation prisoner of the golden headband laughs heartily at his decision. Some constellations consider his behavior cocky, and many constellations are intrigued by his decision. Kim looks at the screen and thinks that some constellations won't leave him alone ever since he announced that he would be Shin's supporting constellation. Kim thinks that he called it a supporting constellation, but there's no way he can be one since he doesn't even have his own fable yet. He asks how he can call himself a supporting constellation when he doesn't even have a stigma he can lend her, but he does have more coins than most historical constellations. Kim gets up, and the system notifies Kim that the constellation, the secretive plotter, is watching him with great interest, and he has been gifted 1,000 coins. Kim thought that the secretive plotter was a historical constellation when he first saw his nickname, but the amount of money he spends and his laid-back manner tell him that he is a fabled constellation at the very least. He can't find anything about him in TWSA. Kim wonders if he is from another world. He looks up from the screen and sees that Shin is practicing with a little monster. Kim asks her if she has slept, and she replies that she has not yet. Kim tells her that she will be penalized if she doesn't get any sleep, so she should get some sleep first. Shin tells him to let her practice a little more. The system notifies that the character Shin has activated the skill interspecies communication level 8 and taming level 7. She is trying to control the monster as a hand emerges from her aura. The monster starts growling at her, and the system notifies them that the taming has failed and the monster has begun rampaging. At the same time, a knife strikes the monster and kills it. Seong says that it is so loud as she throws the knife after waking up from her sleep. Kim thinks that since last night, Shin has been practicing to advance her skill level. He tells the system to activate the character profile, which is just the summary. The system displays her information on the screen. Her full name is Yuseung Shin, and her personal attributes are Beast Tamer and Introspective Killer. Personal skills include Taming Level 7, Introspective Communication Level 8, Agile Feat Level 8 and Introspective Friendship Level 6. Overall stats include Stamina at Level 19, Strength at Level 14, Dexterity at Level 44 and Mana at Level 45. The character is currently using Growth Package 1 and Growth Package 2, and the character is currently using a new scenario package. Kim thinks that her skills have increased drastically with the 2 growth packages. He is sure she is the only incarnation in Korea who is receiving this much support. He thinks that she has an innate talent, so her interspecies communication skills will soon reach level 10 and evolve into advanced interspecies communications. But the problem is that she can't even take a grade 8 monster with stats like that. Shin tells Kim that she doesn't think she has any talent. Kim pats her on the head and says that is not true. She has more than enough talent. Kim thinks that she probably can't use her power because of the trauma she suffered. Kim asks her if there is something on her mind, and Shin replies that she is scared. Kim tells her that the monsters are not the same as pets, and Shin says that she knows. Kim tells her that she can make a wish come true when she clears all the scenarios. Shin tells Kim that his nostrils get bigger when he lies. Kim thinks that Gilyeong said the same thing to him. Shin asks Kim if she will be okay. Kim says that he chose her over Seoul, and he doesn't regret doing so at all. Shin stares at Kim's face and says that if she ever becomes strong, she quickly turns around and says that it is nothing she's going to try practicing again. Kim wonders what it is and says that he has a bad feeling about it. Kim suddenly realizes that now that he comes to think of it, in TWSA, Shin is obsessed with you. She is her biggest fan. Kim thinks that being too young, she wants the heroine of the story. She is more like a little sister who tagged along. Kim is worried and wonders if she would leave him for you after everything he has done to help her. Kim rushes to Seong. She is yawning and tells Kim not to talk to her. Kim asks her how long she is going to keep this up and says that he wants to ask her something. Kim asks Seong how good-looking she thinks he is compared to you. Seong asks Kim why he would even ask such a thing, and Kim says that he is genuinely curious. Kim thinks that since graduating high school, he has never had any interest in the way he looked. But from the reactions of people he has met recently, it seems that they don't think he is all that good looking, and the few times that he has taken bathroom selfies, he doesn't think that he looked that bad. The system notifies Kim that a constellation who loves to flirt looks at him pitifully. Seong gets up and tells Kim to just accept it. All she can do for him is to give him her sympathy. Kim says that he wasn't looking to be consoled by her, he was just curious. Kim looks at Shin and thinks that no matter what happens, he can't have her meet you. She's the incarnation that he has raised. After some time, everyone finished eating their food, and Songa started praying. Kim asked her if she was religious, and Songa told him that she didn't have a religion. Kim asked why is she praying. Songa starts smiling and says that she is paying the gods of Olympus. Kim says that makes sense as Shin starts yawning. Kim looks at her and says that Seong and he will stand guard tonight. He tells Shin and Songa to get some sleep. Kim thinks that he has hunted the monsters in the vicinity throughout the day to earn coins, and he has invested the coins he has earned in increasing Shin's agility and mana stats. Thanks to that, she was able to obtain advanced interspecies communication, but she still hasn't successfully managed to use taming. Kim looks at her while sleeping and thinks that in order to seal away that power of hers, she needs to advance as quickly as possible. Thyong is using her mobile while sitting in a corner. She tells Kim that he should sleep too. Kim wonders why she is so distant. He thinks that they used to be enemies, and Sayong and Sanga's stances on many things are the exact opposite of each other. The system notifies Kim that someone has defeated the catastrophe of ice that has awakened in the west. Kim thinks that you must have managed to fight it off. He thinks that you should have rendezvoused with Hyunseong too. Kim thinks that everything is going according to the plan. Sayong tells Kim that there is something she wants to ask him, and Kim tells her that she is ugly. Sayong is annoyed and says that is not what she wants to ask him. Kim asks her what it is as he sits on the ground. Sayong asks Kim what it is that he's trying to do and what his goal is. She just doesn't get it. She tells him that he destroyed the throne and even let Shin live. She asks Kim to tell her what it is that he's trying to do. Kim remains silent for a while and then says that there's an ending he wants to see. Sayong says that she also had an ending she wanted to write. Kim asks in her novel, and she replies yes. Kim tells Sayong to let him ask her something too. He asks why she plagiarized when she's not a bad writer. Sayong is annoyed at Kim and says that she told him she didn't plagiarize anything. She says that Kim holds TWSA in high regard, but many elements of TWSA were taken from other novels too. She asks isn't harder to find a novel these days that doesn't have stuff like that. Kim tells her that hers is a problem because it is the most similar to TWSA. Sayong says there's a reason for that and asks if Kim wants to hear a story. Sayong says once upon a time, there was this poor little girl. Kim interrupts her and says that if this is a story about a poor girl who used to love to write, but gave up on her dreams and resorted to plagiarism to make ends meet, then no thanks. Sayong asks Kim if he can read minds. Kim starts laughing and says that he is not a god or anything. If he could do something like that, then he wouldn't be in this mess right now. The system notifies Kim that the character Sayong is using the skill lie detection level 3, and she has confirmed that he is telling the truth. Sayong tells Kim that if he can read minds, then try reading her mind right now. Kim looks away and says that he can't. Sayong tells him that she hasn't plagiarized anything, and the system notifies Kim that she is telling the truth. Sayong says that she read TWSA, but it was a coincidence that her novel turned out so similar. She says that she was only transcribing her dreams, and Kim is shocked to hear that. The system notifies Kim that she is telling the truth. Kim wonders if she is using her subconsciousness to defend herself from the accusation of plagiarism. Kim is annoyed at her and says that she read TWSA, which is how she dreamed about it. Sayong says that may be true, but lately she has been thinking that this reality is based on a novel, and if she is only a recreation of that novel, then maybe her existence itself is plagiarized. Kim says that she must be trying to gloss over this issue with that nonsense. Sayong says that it is just a thought she had. Kim thinks that he has actually thought of the same thing himself. Kim thinks it has crossed his mind ever since TWSA became a reality. He wonders if the novel overlaps with their reality, or if reality is turning into the novel. Kim puts his hand on his head and tells Sayong that they should swap shifts. Kim tells her to sleep first. Kim tells her that if she keeps spewing confusing stuff like that, they will lose constellations on their channel. Sayong tells Kim that she has been getting fewer coins from them since she joined him. Sayong shows Kim her tongue. Kim thinks that it is comforting to have her around, and he is relieved to know that he's not the only one who knows that this world is a work of fiction. It is stately comforting. Kim gets sleepy all of a sudden and he dozes off. After some time, Kim opens his eyes and suddenly gets up. He wonders when she fell asleep, and he tells Sayong that he will stand guard now so she can sleep. Kim is shocked to see that Sayong is lying dead on the floor. Kim checks her pulse. Sanga wakes up and sees that Kim is checking Sayong's pulse. Sanga runs towards him and asks what happened. Kim says that she is not breathing. Kim wonders if he is in shock right now because Sayong is dead. Sanga starts checking her dead body and says that she doesn't see any wounds. Kim wonders if she has been poisoned, and Kim asks how everyone else is okay when the poison is used. Sanga says that she is sorry. She must have slept too much. Kim asks if she has been asleep this whole time, and she replies yes. Kim looks at Shin and thinks that it would mean that none of them did guard last night. He thinks that everyone else fell asleep too when he did and wonders why he suddenly fell asleep. Kim looks at the bones and picks up the plate. Kim thinks that this dust is the stem of Yannispleta. Kim asks Sangha who cooked their meal last night, and she says that it was Sayong. Kim stands up and says that she fooled them. This is one of her avatars. Kim wonders why she would pull a prank like this. Kim looks at their contract and thinks that she shouldn't be able to leave due to her temporary pledge. Kim sees that something is appearing from the avatar's chest. He brings out his sword and stabs the avatar. Kim thinks that avatars don't perish unless their heads are destroyed. The system notifies Kim that the avatar of the character Sayong is suffering for violating the pledge, and Sayong has nullified most of the penalties that come from the temporary pledge by sacrificing her avatar. Kim thinks that he didn't know that her avatars could be used like this. Shin asks if she is gone, and Kim says that he guessed so. Kim thinks that it doesn't matter how many times he asks. The truth is that Sayong has nothing to gain from being with him. The avatar disappears, and there is a note left there for Kim. It says for his troubles. Kim looks at the note and thinks if she could sacrifice her avatar to leave him, he wonders why she has stayed with him all this time. Kim crumples the paper and says that he just can't figure it out. Kim tells everyone that they should get going too. In the morning, Sayong is using her mobile on top of a building and says that Kim is an idiot. She asks if she shouldn't at least pretend to look for her. Sayong looks at Kim waking on the footpath and says that she is sure they will cross paths again. She writes that there's no telling whether they will meet again as friends or enemies.